Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into a topic that has been on a lot of people's minds, the future of gold and silver. Specifically, we are going to explore the compelling reasons why many experts are forecasting a significant price rise for these precious metals in 2025. Now, before we jump in, a quick but important note: this is for informational and educational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. Always do your own research and consult with a professional before making any investment decisions. Okay, with that said, let's get into it. So why all the buzz about gold and silver right now? To understand where we might be heading, we first need to look at the big picture. For centuries, gold and silver have been seen as a safe haven, a store of value when other assets feel uncertain. Think about the economic climate we're in. We've seen persistent inflation, geopolitical tensions, and a general sense of instability in global markets. When people get nervous about the value of their currency or the stability of the stock market, they often turn to something tangible, something with a long history of holding its value, and that's where gold and silver have always shined. They're like the financial world's insurance policy. One of the biggest drivers we need to talk about is central bank activity. You might not think about it every day, but central banks around the world, from China to Poland to Singapore, have been buying gold at a historic pace. They're diversifying their reserves, moving away from a heavy reliance on the US dollar. When these massive institutions are buying up gold by the ton, it creates a huge and steady source of demand. This isn't just a fleeting trend. It's a strategic shift. They are preparing for a different financial future, and their actions send a powerful signal to the market. This large-scale buying effectively reduces the available supply for everyone else, which, according to basic economics, puts upward pressure on prices. It's a fundamental shift in the global financial landscape, and it's happening right now. Now let's talk about interest rates. This can sound a bit technical, but it's super important. Historically, when interest rates are high, holding gold is less attractive because you're not earning any interest or dividends on it. You could be earning a nice return from a high-yield savings account instead. However, the general consensus among many economists is that we're approaching the peak of this interest rate hiking cycle. Central banks like the Federal Reserve are signaling that they may start cutting rates in the near future to stimulate economic growth. When interest rates start to fall, the opportunity cost of holding gold decreases. Suddenly, holding a non-yielding asset like gold becomes much more appealing compared to holding cash that is earning less and less interest. A lower interest rate environment makes gold a more competitive asset, and this shift often precedes a major rally in precious metals prices. Of course, we can't talk about gold without also talking about its shiny cousin, silver. Silver is fascinating because it has a dual identity. Like gold, it's a monetary metal, a store of value. But unlike gold, silver has massive industrial demand. It is an absolutely essential component in so many of the technologies that are shaping our future. Think about it. Solar panels, electric vehicles, 5 grams networks, and countless electronics all require silver because of its incredible conductivity. The green energy transition is not possible without silver. As the world pushes towards a more sustainable future, the demand for solar panels and EVs is set to explode. This means the industrial demand for silver is on a structural, long-term uptrend. This is what makes silver so unique. You have this growing industrial demand on one side, and on the other, you have the investment demand that kicks in when people are looking for a safe haven. Right now, the supply of silver is struggling to keep up with this dual demand. Mining output has been relatively flat, and recycling rates aren't filling the gap. We've been in a market deficit for a few years now, meaning we're consuming more silver than we're producing. At some point, that deficit has to be reconciled, and it usually happens through higher prices. Many analysts look at the gold-to-silver ratio, which is basically how many ounces of silver it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold. Historically, this ratio has been much lower than it is today. If that ratio starts to revert to its historical average, it implies that silver is significantly undervalued compared to gold and has a lot more room to run. Another key factor to consider is the geopolitical landscape. Unfortunately, the world seems to be getting more fragmented and uncertain. We have ongoing conflicts, trade disputes, and a general move away from globalization towards more regional blocs. During times of heightened geopolitical risk, gold's role as a neutral, outside-the-system asset becomes incredibly valuable. It's not tied to any single country's political decisions or economic policies. It is a universally accepted form of wealth that can't be devalued by a government printing more of it. This is why you see not only central banks but also individual investors turning to gold when tensions flare up. It's a hedge against the unknown, a way to preserve wealth when the world feels unpredictable. And looking ahead to 2025, it's hard to see that global uncertainty just disappearing. Let's also touch on investor sentiment. For the past couple of years, much of the investment world has been focused on other assets like tech stocks and cryptocurrencies. Precious metals were kind of on the back burner, but sentiment is cyclical. When an asset class is ignored or undervalued for a long period, it often sets the stage for a powerful comeback. We're starting to see a shift now. More mainstream financial news outlets are talking about gold. More investors are starting to allocate a small portion of their portfolio to precious metals as a diversification tool. Once this sentiment really takes hold and money starts flowing from the sidelines into gold and silver ETFs and physical bullion, it can create a powerful self-reinforcing cycle. Rising prices attract more buyers, which pushes prices even higher. We may be in the very early stages of that cycle right now, so when you put all these pieces together, the picture for 2025 starts to look very compelling for precious metals. You have massive, sustained buying from central banks. You have the strong possibility of falling interest rates, which makes gold and silver more attractive. You have explosive and non-negotiable industrial demand for silver from the green energy sector. You have a persistent global supply deficit in silver. You have ongoing geopolitical uncertainty that enhances gold's safe haven appeal. And finally, you have a potential shift in investor sentiment that could bring a flood of new money into the market. It's not just one thing. It's the convergence of multiple powerful tailwinds all pointing in the same direction. It's a perfect storm brewing for gold and silver. Of course, no one has a crystal ball. There are always risks. A sudden resolution to global conflicts or inflation falling much faster than expected could change the outlook. That's why a balanced and diversified approach is always wise. But based on the fundamental drivers we've discussed today, the case for a significant rise in gold and silver prices as we head into 2025 is incredibly strong. It's a story about supply and demand, a story about global economic shifts, and a story about the timeless value of real, tangible assets in an uncertain world. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this breakdown gave you a lot to think about. What are your thoughts on the future of gold and silver? Let me know down in the comments. I love reading your perspectives. If you found this video helpful and want to see more content like this, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps us grow and continue making videos for you. Thanks again for watching Vectorlog, and I'll see you in the next one.